Hi, I just have a pickup for Alexander. Thank you. This is my cousin's tombstone and my uncle. They're both buried in the same spot. Mendoza, both Adan. The flower place was closed, so I couldn't get any. But I found this little cute flower, so I just put it on there with these really dead flowers. But yeah, next time I'll be more prepared for sure. Alright, we're just gonna go with it. This lighting is not my favorite, but we're gonna do this video regardless. Got my coffee like you saw in the beginning of this video. I got a pumpkin spice latte, no whipped cream, half sweet and with oat milk. And this has low-key been my go-to whenever I'm like in the fall mood. I'm in the fall season and I'm in the spirit. I've thought about this video for quite a while now. My cousin, he passed away earlier this year on January 18th. And I feel like I just haven't had the right amount of time, or I haven't given myself enough time to process this loss. He was my closest cousin. He was only 24. He was gonna be 25 in July. His birthday was July 12th, 1998, so he would have been 25. He passed away at the young age of 24, and it was a very sudden yet expected thing, only because of the circumstances that he was in. And it was already a little too late for when we thought things could get better, you know, and it just happened really quickly. And it's been really weird to think about, and I feel like it hasn't really hit me. And I just feel like I haven't really processed his death, and it's really weird because I grew up with him. This guy is someone who really kind of made my childhood. Honestly, if anyone made my childhood, it was him. I remember going to countless sleepovers over at his place and vice versa. He would show me all my favorite video games that are my favorite video games now, and I would play all day and night, and we would just have the time of our lives. He would make every single hangout, every sleepover, every moment just really interesting and fun and dynamic and new and fresh. And it was something that I guess I just never really understood until, you know, I got older and started missing those times. And you know, we take people for granted sometimes. We take moments for granted, and growing up and being healthy and all of that, we take it all for granted, and we don't realize what we have until it's gone. And that's something that's very universal, and I know that a lot of people have gone through this, and it's something that's very unfortunate because it's kind of the inevitable, but we have to, you know, still go through it to just learn to appreciate what we have and what we don't have, and who is in our lives right now, and what our purpose is, you know. And I know we don't stop to think about that all the time because we all have jobs and lives and responsibilities and priorities, and we're stuck in our own little world too sometimes. And after his death, it just made me realize how much I kind of took all of that for granted. You know, I don't think I ever really gave him all my love and attention when I could have. And you know, there was many different reasons why our relationship kind of, you know, grew apart as we got older. But I didn't come here today to, you know, be all sappy and sad and cry in front of a camera. That's not what I came here for. I wanted to, you know, be here and, you know, celebrate his life and talk about him and talk about how special he was and who he was. And I just really want to honor that because I don't think I've really done that. I think I just didn't want to grieve. I think I just wanted to maybe try to accept it. I accepted it, but not really. In my head, I just wanted to accept it and move on because I just didn't want to feel sad, and I didn't want to be in a headspace that just didn't let me move forward. And in a way, that's a little selfish of me, but I don't know. I've never really gone through a really close and unfortunate death, you know, around me, very close to me and my heart. But Adan Mendoza, he was my cousin from my dad's side. He's my closest cousin, actually. He was only 2 years older than me. And this guy was always the light and the life of the party. He he always knew what to do and what to say to just kind of create a space that was safe, not only safe but fun and comfortable and nurturing. And even if he did it unintentionally, like, you know, I knew him since I was a baby, and he's always been that same way. He always made me laugh. Like, I feel like a big part of who I am is because of him, and he really showed me a lot of really fascinating things. Just, you know, his interests and his thoughts and his way of thinking was really, really interesting and really unique. And I don't know, I guess maybe from my perspective it's like that because I never had anyone in my life like him. And I remember my favorite parts were definitely like the sleepovers. My cousin from Santa Ana, he would come down. He's my age, and us three were kind of like a trio in terms of like cousins. And I just remember all the fun times that we had together. He would make us play like the Nintendo 64. He showed me Pokemon, and that's how I got into Pokemon, and I thought it was the funniest thing ever. I remember going to sleepovers. We would fall asleep either watching a movie, drinking iced coffee that we forced my aunt to make us because, you know, we wanted to feel like grown, and, you know, we just wanted to experience all of that together, and it was just really fun. You know, we did fight a lot, I'm not gonna lie. Like, cousins and family, relatives, when you're close, you fight a lot, and it's always ridiculous. But I think just looking back at it, the important part was just sharing those moments together. Just looking back at it is really nostalgic. I still drive through all these different places that remind me of all these memories with him and his family and my family and all the moments we shared together, and it's beautiful to think about. I do get sad because that nostalgia gives me feelings of sadness and happiness, and a lot of feelings that sometimes you can't really explain. One of my favorite memories with Adan was when I remember he was living in these apartments in National City, and we would always go over, like my family and his family, we would always like do little gatherings, whatever it was. I was always at his place or they were always at my place, and it was just like a big part of how I grew up. And I remember one time my cousin Carlos and my sister, we were all there. We were like a little group of cousins. We were probably around like 8 or 9 or 10, around that age. And Adan would always find really fucking weird games to like play. He would make these games up, and it was just, I don't know how he thought of it. This guy he had so much creativity in his mind. He had so much to explore, and that's what I miss about him a lot, because he was always just coming up with new shit to just do, you know, at his young age. Like he was like our little leader in terms of how we grew up. He was always the oldest, so it just made sense that way. And I remember this game that he made up. So I'm gonna preface by saying that I was honestly his favorite cousin, and vice versa. Like he really was my favorite cousin growing up. I was always excited to go and, you know, just spend time with him. And I'm just gonna start by saying that. But when we played this game, I don't know exactly what this game was, but I remember him giving us a bunch of little quests and tasks to do, and there was always punishments if we didn't do those tasks. And I would have to do the tasks as well as my sister and my cousin Carlos, and it was just really fucking obnoxious and bizarre and wild and interesting and fun, and it was all like, it was just so weird. And the point of this game was for us to do these tasks in order to not get punished, you know. So whether it was like we had to do a certain obstacle and not fail, or like, you know, he did martial arts, so we would have to like try to imitate his martial arts moves, and if we did it wrong, like, we'd get punished. But specifically, I remember this one thing, and this is how I knew that. This just gives me further proof that I'm like his favorite cousin, or was his favorite cousin. He made my cousin Carlos and my sister eat bird food and fish food, because if they didn't eat that bird or fish food, he told us that this like really evil and strange man would come and kidnap us and take us to the depths of the mountains where there's no food or service or nothing, and he would just leave us stranded there to die. But he said that I wouldn't have to do that because I had like passed all the tasks perfectly. So it was like, yeah, you don't have to do it, but you guys do. So it was the funniest thing, because my cousin and my sister ate that bird and fish food, and it was the funniest thing in the world. And I just felt so fucking lucky and just powerful because I didn't have to do any of that. And it was just so funny because I don't know, it's just that memory is just engraved in my mind. And some memories just really stay in your mind, and that was one of those. He was someone who always made things fun, exciting, dangerous, and I really miss those times, and I know that those moments really helped me appreciate the love that I had from my family and from him. And even when I grew up and wasn't able to share all of the moments, like coming out, and he was very supportive of my coming out. And although I was really scared of what he would think, because he just, it's not like he wasn't open-minded or anything like that. That's not what I'm saying at all. It's just we grew up very differently. And he grew up with all brothers. I grew up with a twin sister, so I was always in touch with like my more feminine side, but also like my masculine side, because that's still who I am. And we just had very different personalities and different upbringings, and in terms of education and a lot of stuff, we just had it very differently. So in terms of thinking the way we thought, I just didn't know how he would react to certain things about my life and who I was. But he always gave me the reassurance that he loved me no matter what, no matter who I was, no matter what I liked. And I remember this one conversation that I had with him. It was at his house. We were at this like family gathering, and we kind of got into like a little argument, fight, whatever. But we're like teenagers, so it wasn't that serious. But you get irritated, and you hold a little grudge or whatever. But that same day, like he pulled me aside, and we just kind of started talking, and he was asking me all these questions about like if I loved him, and if I like still loved him as a cousin, and if I didn't, I don't, he asked me all these things about like just the closeness of our relationship and just our families, and what I thought of him and all these things, because he had gone through a lot. And those are things that I wasn't always there for him. And it's not like he was always there for me either, but that's just because we have our own lives. We go through our own shit at our own pace and in different times of our lives. So it's something that we don't always get to sit down and talk about. But this conversation just got really emotional. I remember he started crying, and I don't really cry. I'm not an emotional person. Like, I remember when Adan passed away, I cried before he passed away. I cried when I first saw him on that hospital bed, because I knew that the inevitable was coming, and I broke down. All these memories and times were kind of, running through my mind, and I was just really fucking sad. And I feel like I shed all my tears that day, because after that it was really hard to cry, and I was grieving. I was very sad, and I just wanted to be there for my aunt and her family and my little cousin too. And it was very, very hard to be in touch with my emotions in terms of like crying, and I was very sad and emotional, but not as much as when I first saw him on that hospital bed. But going back, I remember during that conversation he started crying, and I really felt his pain, and that's what got me crying. I started crying immediately too, and that was like one of the last times that I really, really cried before his passing. I felt everything that he was going through, and I think that's what made it harder to not cry, to hold back my tears. Like, I couldn't. And after that, I just really had to keep my mind open to try to be closer to them, my family and my cousins and everyone, and not take it for granted, but Adan was a really special person, and I still can't believe that he's not here, and it just doesn't make sense. There is more to his life, and he has so much potential. Even when he felt like he didn't, and even when he doubted himself, I always knew that, or I always thought that he would really get past, or not past, it's just, like I said, we all have our own lives, and a big regret of mine is, not being there more. But at the same time, it's like, I can't blame myself, or I can't, like, resent myself for not always being there, because we all have our own lives, and we're all so caught up in our own shit. So it's really hard to kind of manage that. And when you look back at it, it's like, damn, I wish I could have done more. But it's just, I learned that it doesn't work like that. And I have to be easy on myself too, and just try to celebrate him and think of him in the best way possible and see the light in everything. And Adan had the biggest heart of all. It sucks that I couldn't see that before. You know, he went through a lot of hard things, and I think one of the biggest blessings that he gave us, my family and his family and everybody, was the blessing of his daughter, Julie. She's like the most colorful little girl in the world, and I'm just excited to see her grow up. I'm so glad that he left a part of him with us, and you know, I'm really trying to look at the bright side of everything and really look forward to the memories that I will be able to create with his daughter and, you know, my niece, and just grow as a family. I feel like I've really gotten closer to that side of my family ever since his passing, and it's like it was just a very big moment of realization that like this isn't forever. We're not always gonna have this, so we have to really take advantage of the time that we have now. And I'm trying my best to, you know, balance my own life, my own priorities, and my own goals, and balance that with the time that I give and share with my family, because that's so important. And I feel very lucky and blessed to have a very healthy family life, and I try not to take that for granted every day. And even when I do, I have to realize that I can't. Life's too fucking short, and I know we all say it, but it really is. And I just don't want to have to regret not having spent time with my family and giving them the love that they deserve, because they've given me everything that I've needed, and I'm just such a lucky person. So this is for you, Adan. I love you so much, and I miss you every single day. I just can't believe that you're gone, but I love you so much, and I'm grateful for you and everything that you did for me and everything that you meant to me. You really helped, you know, make me the person that I am today, whether you knew that or not, and whether it took me you being gone to realize that. But I love you so much, and I hope that you're really happy and at peace, and that you stay with me in this journey of life of mine and help keep protecting me and inspiring me. And you were someone who always believed in me, and that's something that I will never forget. All your words, they're still in my mind, and all those moments where you made me feel like I was very special and had a lot of potential. And you're just someone who always made me believe in myself, even when I was like I don't know what I'm meant for in this life. You know, you always gave me that reassurance that I didn't have to ask for. I love you so much, Adan, and thank you guys for watching this video. If you did, this is something that I've been wanting to do for a while, and I'm glad that I did. So thank you for watching and sharing this special moment with me, and in the celebration of life of my cousin, my dear cousin, Adan Ulysses Mendoza. So like this video, just comment anything that you'd like to comment and subscribe for more content. I love you guys. I'll see you guys in the next one.